Everybody wants to do something with their life. I think most people genuinely want to. They want to build something that matters. They want to feel like what they're doing really counts for something. That's pretty universal. What's rare is doing it. Not thinking about it, talking about it, or almost starting. Doing it. And I've thought about that a lot. Why so many people stay in the space of I want to and never cross into I will. And I didn't have words for it back then. But I remember the first time I felt the difference. I was 17. One summer, me and some friends went on a camping trip. It was a trip where you canoed down a river, stopped halfway at dusk, and camped on one of the sandbars. I mean, it was nice. There were no distractions, no noise, just nature and a bunch of guys trying to figure out how to cook over a fire. You know, those kind of moments you don't realize how important they are until you look back years later. But day 2, that's when reality comes back. We woke up sore. I don't think I slept too good that night. And the sun's already getting hot before noon. And we had to make the other half of our trip. We finally get to the putout where the bus would pick us up and take us back to the canoe rental. And now it's time to load everything up. The canoes, the gear, the empty coolers, and get everything back on the bus. And look, nobody wants to do it, but we're all pitching in anyway. Well, all except for one. There's always one, right? Sammy, biggest guy in the group, and he's sitting on his ass in the back of the bus. Just sitting. Now, when you're in a situation like this, at first, you don't say anything. Sure, you notice it, but you don't do anything about it. Because there's this unwritten thing we all follow. Don't make it awkward. Don't step out of line. Somebody else will handle it. And that right there, that's where most people live. But the longer I watched, the more something started to build inside of me. Because we were all tired. We were all doing something we didn't want to do. And he wasn't. And there's this moment when everything shifts. Not everybody sees it at first, but it's real. Your mindset goes from, I see it, to, I'm not okay with it. And I remember walking onto that bus, got right up in Sammy's face and told him, get your fat ass out there and help us, you lazy bastard. Now let me be honest for a second. At the time, I was 5'6", 155 pounds. Sammy, shoot, I don't even know how to describe how big Sammy was. So there's a part of me, even in that moment, going, this could go very wrong. But something else was louder. It was just a decision to do something about it. If nobody else is going to say it, then I will. And I remember looking out the window, seeing everybody else watching, looking at me like I'd done lost my mind. Then he stands up and looks me dead in the eye. He took a big, deep breath and then let it out. I held my ground, not knowing what was coming next. And I remember thinking, all right, here we go. He started walking toward me, but not to attack me. I stepped into the seat beside me, and he walked right past me, down the aisle, and off the bus. And then he started picking up gear and helping us out. Later, we talked and settled the whole thing, and he understood where I was coming from. But the most important part was what I realized after. I had spent my whole life thinking there are certain people who step up and certain people who don't. Leaders and those that follow. The outspoken and the ones that stay quiet. And I had already decided which one I was. But in that moment, I wasn't the guy I thought I was. I was the guy who stepped up. And that's when it clicked. Most people aren't lacking ability. They're not empty of ideas. Heck, they even have the desire. But they're waiting to feel ready, waiting for someone else to go first, waiting for a moment that feels safe. That's why everybody wants to, but very few people actually do. Because at some point, you have to change your want tos into I will. And look, that doesn't mean it's going to go smooth. That doesn't mean you won't mess it up. You probably will. But I'll tell you this, that feeling of wondering what would have happened if I had, that sticks with you a lot longer than trying something and getting it wrong. And I've felt both. So if there's something in your life right now where you know it's probably time to step up, you might not feel ready, but that's probably the point. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for spending a few moments listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.